Welcome to the Small Business Tax Savings Podcast, powered by Jetro. Each week, we bring extremely valuable accounting and tax tips specific to small business owners. You will be on your way to growing your business and putting more money in your pockets. Here's your host.
Hello and welcome back to another episode. Today's topic is, what do I need to know about the COVID relief bill? Now, before we get into that, this episode is brought to you by Jetro, a digital accounting firm servicing business owners across the country, helping them relieve stress around financials and save thousands in taxes. I am your host and founder of Jetro, Mike Jesowshek. And again, today's topic is, what do I need to know about the COVID relief bill? So Congress has finally passed another COVID relief bill, and what I want to do in this episode is unpack what this means to both you personally as well as to your business. And so this bill, before we get into too many details, was over 5,500 pages long. So what we outline here is obviously a high-level overview. It's going to take a bit of time for the SBA and banks to unpack much of this. So it will be evolving just like most bills that come out. But what I want to do is just get an initial overview of what's included in this bill and what matters to you. So this bill was signed by President Trump on Sunday, and so now this bill looks like it's going to be going into place. There might be a few modifications, but this is what we know today. So first off, what's included in this bill for individuals? And this is going to be areas that's specific to individuals and not your business. We'll get to the business on the backside. So a few things for individuals: relief rebates or stimulus checks. This is going to work very similar to the first round that went out. It's based on your 2019 tax return information. So these are checks that are going out to Americans as well. This is $600 per individual, including any qualifying children. Note, adult dependents are not eligible. So if it's just you and you're married, you and your spouse, it'd be $1,200. If it's you, your spouse, and a 5-year-old kid, it would be $1,800. So it's $600 per individual, and that includes qualifying children. Now, this stimulus check starts to phase out at $75,000 if you're single, $150,000 if you're married, and $112,500 if you're head of household. So just know that as your income increases, and this again is based on your 2019 tax return, if your income's higher or above those amounts, $75K for single, $150K for married, it might start to phase out where you're not going to get the full amount. Nothing needs to be done to receive these rebate checks or these stimulus checks. If you had a high income in 2019 and you phased out, so your 2019 return, let's say you were single and made $150,000, you're phased out, you're not going to get a check. But now in 2020, you expect to have that income lower. Let's say something hit, you lost your job, now you're at $50,000 in 2020. You will get this benefit when you file your 2020 tax return. So you're not going to get a check with this send out because your 2019 tax return is the most recent information that they have, and you're phased out. But when you go to file your 2020 tax return, the IRS will realize that you didn't in 2020, you were under the phase out limit, and then you'll get the benefit from this when you file that tax return. So it's not completely lost. The other thing that this bill does is unemployment benefits. It extends certain unemployment benefit items for an additional 11 weeks. This includes an additional $300 per week to supplement state unemployment compensation. So this was a big thing that they were talking about. Previously, it was $600. They moved it to $300 per week to supplement state unemployment compensation. Charitable contributions. If you're someone that is giving to charity, but you're always using the standard deduction, they created an above the line contribution, and they extended that through 2021. And that amount is, the above the line charitable contribution amount is $300 for single or $600 for married. So you can still claim up to $300 or $600 in charitable contributions, even if you're taking the standard deduction. And finally, flexible savings accounts, or FSAs. They can be rolled from 2020 into 2021, and 2021 balances can be rolled into 2022. So it's not a use it or lose it with this bill. They've made that adjustment for this year. So that's kind of on the personal side. We have rebates, relief rebates or stimulus checks coming, $600 per individual, including qualified children. Unemployment benefits, that's been extended. Certain benefits have been extended for 11 weeks, including an additional $300 per week to supplement state unemployment compensation. Charitable contributions, above the line contributions, $300 for single and $600 for married, and FSAs can be rolled over from 2020 to 2021 and 2021 to 2022. Now, what's included in this COVID relief bill for businesses? Again, this is specific to your business. So a few things on the original Paycheck Protection Program, the original PPP. Forgiveness is not taxable, and businesses are able to deduct expenses paid with forgiven PPP funds. This is big. This is what we talked about a while back, where there was clarification still needing to come, where the IRS came out and said that if you have a PPP loan forgiven, the expenses that you use those funds for are not deductible, therefore kind of making that PPP loan taxable. This has fixed that. We knew that this was Congress's intent from the beginning, and they finally fixed that in this bill. So forgiveness of the PPP is not taxable, and as a business, you are able to deduct the expenses that you use those PPP funds for. Again, this is big. They also made a simplified forgiveness process for loans under $150,000, and you no longer deduct the amount of any EIDL advances. These EIDL advances were those amounts that were grants, kind of $0 or $1,000 to $10,000. You no longer deduct the amount of any EIDL advance from the PPP forgiveness amount. So that's the original Paycheck Protection Program. They announced Paycheck Protection Program 2.0. So this is PPP round 2 with some changes to it. The biggest one is you must have at least a 25% drop in gross receipts in a 2020 quarter compared to that same quarter in 2019. So in order to qualify for PPP round 2, you must have at least a 25% drop in gross receipts in a 2020 quarter compared to that same quarter in 2019. It's limited to businesses with 300 employees or less, and the maximum loan size is $2 million. In order to qualify, you must have also used or will use the full amount of the original PPP loan. And they also extended some of the qualifying expenses to include property damage, supplier costs, or PPE equipment. And that's in addition to obviously the payroll, the rent, utilities, etc. So that's PPP round 2. The next item is the Employee Retention Tax Credit, or the ERTC. This is something that was in place before. They've just modified it a little bit. So employers may claim a 70% tax credit, this used to be 50%, on up to $10,000 in wages paid to employees per quarter. This is up from $10,000 allowed per year. And this is through July 1st of 2021. So this results in a maximum credit of $14,000 per employee, which was previously up from $5,000. So again, employee retention credit. Employer may claim a 70% tax credit, previously 50%, on up to $10,000 in wages paid to employees per quarter. Used to be $10,000 per year. And this is through made through July 1st of 2021. So basically Q1 and Q2. This results in a maximum credit of $14,000 per employee, up from a previous $5,000. Now, to qualify for the employee retention tax credit, you have to either be suspended due to government actions related to COVID. So a government shutdown, your business cannot be open. You have a suspension or some type of closure of your business due to government restrictions. Or you have a 20% decline in gross receipts during a quarter when compared to the same quarter the previous year. So a 20% decline in gross receipts during a 2020 quarter compared to that same quarter in 2019. Another big change is you may use both the PPP and the ERTC, but you cannot double benefit from both of the programs. So basically, if you used payroll costs for your PPP forgiveness, you cannot use those same dollars for the employee retention tax credit. Another item, that the EIDL, that the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, extends the deadline to apply to December 31st of 2021, so end of next year. SBA 7A loans. This is where the government was helping you pay for SBA loans if they're 7A. They extended the loan debt relief for 3 months. And if you're in some industries, 8 months. Also, those loan payments that were made on behalf of the government are not taxable. This is also big news if you had SBA 7A loans that the government was making principal and interest payments on for you. Again, those payments, that debt relief has been extended 3 months, 8 months if you're in certain industries, and then the loan payments made on behalf of the government are not taxable. And business meals, 100% deductible for 2021 and 2022. This is an interesting thing that got flipped in there. Good news for business owners, good news for restaurants. But again, business meals are now 100% deductible for 2021 and 2022. So as we kind of talked about in the beginning, this is a massive bill. Things are going to continue to evolve, and this is just kind of scratching the surface of this. If there's certain parts of or certain items here that definitely apply for you, take some time to research that. Look into those points further. And I just want to go through, again, just a quick summary. On the personal side, we have relief rebates or stimulus checks of $600 per individual. Certain unemployment benefits have been extended for 11 weeks, and including $300 per week to supplement state unemployment compensation. Charitable contributions, above the line contributions extended through 2021. That's $300. Even if you're doing a standard deduction, you can take a charitable contribution up to $300 if you're single, $600 if you're married. And FSAs, they can be rolled from 2020 into 2021. Same thing with 2021 into 2022. On the business side, we talk about the original PPP program. Forgiveness is not taxable, and the business is able to deduct expenses paid with forgiven PPP funds. This was big. They also introduced a simplified forgiveness process for loans under $150K, and you no longer have to deduct any kind of EIDL advance you received from the PPP forgiveness amount. They introduced a new paycheck protection program. We're calling it PPP 2.0. Big factor here is you must have had at least a 25% drop in gross receipts in a 2020 quarter compared to the same quarter in 2019. The employee retention tax credits, there were some adjustments made to it, a 70% tax credit on up to 10,000 wages paid to employees per quarter. Again, to qualify, you must have had a business closure or a 20% decline in gross receipts in a calendar quarter. The EIDL, they extended the deadline to apply to December 31st of 2021. And there's some updates to SBA 7A loans. That debt relief has been extended 3 months, 8 months for some industries, and then those loan payments are not taxable. And then again, business meals, 100% deductible for 2021 and 2022. So a lot of changes here, a lot of big items. Again, this was a 5,500 page long bill that got passed. So we tried to wrap these up as easy as possible into a nice, easy to see breakdown of it. If there's a specific topic that is relevant to you, be sure to dig deeper into that. Look into the bill that was passed and dig into those details further. I'm also going to put a link in the show notes to our website on this where we have a blog post and article that kind of digs into it a little bit further. So I want to thank you guys for listening. I want to wish everyone a happy new year as we get into 2021. I think we're all ready to turn that page, and really looking forward to coming to you in 2021 with some continuously great content. Now, one last thing before I go. I do want to talk about a launch that we're doing. Something big is coming. We're soon going to be announcing our launch of 2 products that will really change the game for business owners. One product is going to be a tax saving strategies and implementation program. It's going to be a program that talks through tons of tax strategies that you can implement, and it's going to go through the actual implementation process for you. It's going to show you step by step how you can implement these strategies. This is going to be a program that's a monthly subscription where you can be tied into these tax saving strategies. We're also going to be relaunching our bookkeeping training program to include more content, more information, more walkthroughs. We're doing this because we understand that not every business owner needs our help. They might be too early to the game. They might have a different solution. And with the help of these the launch of these products, this will be a way to get business owners into tax savings, into bookkeeping help without having to be on a full package of ours. So it's going to be a monthly subscription, but not a full package where they can still get that tax saving help. They can still get a do-it-yourself bookkeeping training, but they don't necessarily need to full on board into one of our main packages. So we're creating a waiting list for this. For those of you that are interested in jumping on this launch program and want to be the first to try out when we pre-launch this product. So go to www.jetrotax.com/launch. In there's going to be a quick form that you can let me know if you're interested in the tax savings product, the bookkeeping product, or both. Fill out your name and email, and that will add you to the waiting list. I'll also put a link in the show notes for this as well. Again, something big is coming. We're going to be announcing the launch of 2 new products, one for tax savings strategies and implementation, and one for bookkeeping training. Go to jetrotax.com/launch to join our waiting list. So you can be the first to know when we launch this, and when we do a pre-launch, you can get on the best discount for being one of the early birds. Again, www.jetrotax.com/launch. Thank you again for listening to another episode. Have a great New Year's Eve and a great New Year, and I will see you in 2021.
This has been another episode of the Small Business Tax Savings Podcast from the team at Jetro. If you enjoy our weekly episodes, please leave a review on whatever platform you listen to us on and share with other business owners. If you have any questions or future topics you want to hear, email them to tax@jetrotax.com. Thanks for listening and have a great day.